Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirkCast with me, Jimbo. As always, we will be discussing the latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last week or so. One important note before we kick off this episode: none of what we chat about is financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. I'm very excited about this one. In the studio with me today, I have two reoccurring guests with me, both Diamond managers who have had varying levels of success in Diamond, one winning the Titans Cup final and one ever so close to clinching his first Diamond League title, which I'm sure we'll speak about in depth in a short while. But first of all, for his second appearance in the pod, we welcome Mr. BigWilbert. How are you, sir?
Hey, pretty good. Glad to be back. Sorry it's been so long, right? Almost 2 years now. I was back in episode 19, I think you were saying that was the last time on the pod, January of 2024. So again, a ton's changed since then, so I'm glad to get into it.
Yeah, nearly 24 months since we last had you on, which is kind of mental to say. And joining us also in the studio for his first appearance was 9 months ago, which in my mind is equally as long as 24 months in terms of MFL time. None other than Mr. OrangeFly, Bob Flynn. How are you doing, chap? Welcome in.
Doing great, man. Just big thank you for having me back on. It was a fun season. Can't wait to talk about that and what's coming up. And yeah, 9 months feels like a long time. It's only been a few seasons though, so a lot's happened.
Yeah, so I brought in two Diamond Division League skill level managers into the studio with me today. We've asked for some of your questions, which some of you have taken to the next level and asked about 9-10 questions. Risu, yes, we're talking about you. So we're going to go through our weekly updates, kind of more of like a season recap, how our seasons have been, dev updates, the usual spiel, and then we'll go into a bit about season 10, how we're preparing for that. Maybe we'll let some of the Diamond managers tell us how they prepare for seasons, because they are the cream of the crop when it comes to the MFL pyramid, and maybe they'll share some insights into how they prepare for seasons and what they're going to spend their rewards on. But Big will come to you first. We always like to talk about moment of the week or how's the week been, but we'll broaden this out and go, how was season 9 for you? I think most people probably know how season 9 went for you, but that last week was pretty special for you. How was the season?
It was pretty special. Still overall, I'd put it maybe at like a 5 or a 6. Even with the Titans Cup win, I'm super excited about that. I'm glad to put my name in the like annals of history, going undefeated throughout Titans Cup. It's obviously never been done before, and I took out a lot of really strong competition throughout the ranks. I think I took Sit out in the quarterfinals, uh, Greninja out in the semis, and then like Bisconia, like Milano, who ended up winning the Diamond League like Cup, like in the finals there. So it was definitely a great run, and it definitely turned, maybe a season that'd be like a 4, maybe 3.5, to like definitely that like 6. But we can get into like why I kind of rate it where it is. But yeah, I'm definitely excited about that. It definitely turned around and made everything, just come into clear. But to be honest, I got pretty lucky, but you have to put yourself in position, to get that luck, right?
Yeah, exactly. No. First of all, congratulations on winning Titans Cup. It's a phenomenal achievement. It was the second time of second time of asking you got into the final, or was it more than that? The Titans Cup
This was
final.
my fourth
I was
attempt
thinking it was
at
fourth.
the
Yeah.
final and my first win. So this is actually the only trophy I've been missing from my cabinet. So I have all the old ones. I have the WenDirk one. I have the Holiday
Yeah.
Heroes Cup one. The like breakaway like cup ones. So yeah, this is one that's definitely like been like a hole in my agency. So out of 500, it definitely has a place in my heart.
Mm. Yeah, no, I bet you're very, very happy to finally get hold of that trophy and put it in your cabinet. Bob will come to you, a competitor of Big Wilbs for the last 2 seasons in Diamond. Um, it's fair to say the last couple of match days weren't in your favor. I'll let you just discuss them more than me because I feel like I'm not in a position to talk about them. How was your season 9? And yeah, how was your season 9? You came so close to a diamond trophy, but overall, how was the season for you as an
I mean,
agency?
if you asked me last week before I played Ronan, my season would have been a 10 out of 10. Now, 4 matches later, it's maybe a 6 at the top. So I went from being one of the top scoring, if not the top scoring team in the entire league with the Golden Boot winner, which is honestly, I'm so proud of that with Beckman
Mm. Oh,
winning the
unbelievable
Golden
striker.
Boot and Diamond, like absolutely incredible. But what's insane is that over my last 4 matches, I did not score a single goal.
It's mental.
A single goal. So, like, that alone hurts my head. All I had to do was score a couple goals here and there, and I win Diamond. Because even after that thumping by Ronan, we had a really boring game with Biscone, but I lost to two teams that were fighting fighting to stay up, which, man, I don't know what happened, but my offense just quit on me. And it was really disappointing. And so that's really the moral of my story. It feels like third place is great. I'm proud, but I underachieved. I had
Mm.
expectations, especially with how the season had been going, to win Diamond. And not winning is a big disappointment, but it just means that I refuel and I try again. And I mean, on top of that, though, Jim, like the bigger disappointment is that I didn't send Coma out because he's retiring now at 97. I
Yeah,
didn't send him out with the title, which is what I wanted to do. So,
yeah.
we move on.
Yeah, no, I'm really gutted for you, and I think most community is as well. It's kind of crazy to hear you now talking about how you were so close to winning Diamond, and when we had you on the pod back in February, you were just joined during sort of like pre sort of the lead boom, the net boom, whatever the big boom was in sort of the March, April, May time. And instead of starting at the bottom, you'd gone straight to iron, was it? I believe you went straight to iron, and I base remember you saying like, "I just want to win." And now circa and fast forward 9 months, and we're talking about you were effectively 3 games away from winning diamond. And yeah, not scoring a single goal in those 3. We watched the last 2 on the WenDirk watch alongs, and it was that Monday against Sao Paulo where it seemed like a relatively straightforward game for yourself when the red card happens, and then it ended up 3-0 Sao Paulo was the final result. And then when Milano either lost or drew their penultimate game, you lose, Ronan wins, and it's like, oh my word, we have a final match day, which not even at the bottom of the league it's juicy, but at the top of the league it's going to be equally as entertaining. And I guess we should also congrats XVIX for winning the league, although from hearing some chatter with you two beforehand, is it XVIX or is it Scrub who really deserves the win there? But what I want to ask you two chaps about is that you both have diamond clubs. How much of your season in terms of ranking it on a scale of 1 to 10 is influenced by how your diamond performance goes? Like, how do you measure success? Big Will, this year you earned a ludicrous amount of MFL. Do you judge success for a season via MFL earnings, via titles? How do you decide that?
I don't know, like it's tough. Like I just want to do like the best in every single team that I throw out there. So I know it's really tough having 39/40 teams, but it's a culminated effort, right? And it all starts at the top, right? Because if you look at it, out of the 3.1 million like that I brought in MFL, 1.1 million of that, so like a third was from my Diamond Club, Club Atletico Tango. And so the thing is with that is I've got one of the largest agencies. I've got really top tier talent. I've got I've almost like filled up like the top divisions. I've got one Diamond Club, um, 1.5 or
Yeah.
whatever like you want to consider like Hamburg Harmony, because like they're gonna go back to platinum and I'm gonna get them there. But pretty much I'm missing 2 or 3 from having a full bevy of teams in the top 4 divisions. So
Mm,
that's how I'm really engineering all of my rewards and just making sure to keep up with that, making sure at the very least I'm keeping the teams up that I can, and then like promoting whatever teams from the bottom um, like up because that just means that um, the rewards I can earn the next season, are that much like greater, right? So
mm,
yeah, so of course I'm going for every trophy out there. As you see, I've got over 550 of them. I intricately look at every single one, to just make sure I'm put in position, for Golden Glove, um, whatever they call the assist trophy and the
yeah.
like Golden Boot. Like as well as the club trophies. I didn't win as many club trophies this year because I think a lot of my teams have kind of like leveled off, in terms of talent. But I made sure that they stayed up where they can. So right now, I'm actually watching like a ninth place match where I'm up 2-1. So hopefully, I can hang on there. That's one of the 4 clubs I thought was going to go down, but I made a nice little like late run because I just don't give up, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, yeah. So ultimately, yeah, it starts and ends with like diamond, but it trickles all the way down. I want to see success the whole way, and even if like I can't get a good gauge on the engine, I want to make sure that I put myself in a good position to at least stay up. Like if I'm having a down season.
Mm. Yeah, and just for context for the people listening or watching, we're recording this on the Sunday the 16th with about half an hour to go until the Diamond playoff matches. So if you hear varying reactions from us, whether that's audio wise or visually, then that's the reason why. I'll come to you, Bob. You have 7 clubs, the top 2 being Diamond and Gold. How do you judge success in a season with your agency?
Well, similar to Big Will, I don't like to lose. So I'm trying to
Yep.
win every single one. So, but there is more time and focus obviously spent on the top 2 clubs. Like my goal in general is to be able to have feeder teams like Big Will has and get a team to plat. And so for me, obviously, Diamond, like I put together a team to win Diamond. And when I didn't win Diamond, that has a cascading effect. But by
Mm,
putting together a team to win Diamond, by getting, a bunch of different loans in, that actually pushes guys down the ladder, which means that when I don't make the playoffs in gold, I'm really disappointed in my performance. And so it's that kind of feeling as it goes. So, I'm really happy my hometown team won. They're moving up to Stone now. They started in Flint. And, I'm going to be that jerk that has legendaries in Stone because reasons. Uh, my lowest card will probably be like an 83, but I
Ooh.
want to progress them as fast as possible. And also, creep is a real thing. Like, it's not
Mm,
always just easy to blow teams out anymore. Teams are getting better and better every division you're in. So,
yeah.
I'll see how far I can take that up with the tools that I currently have. But in general, yeah, I mean, Diamond is the main focus, honestly.
Mm,
I set my team specifically to win the leagues. I think I only have one team that's going to get relegated, and that's because I bought them a couple days ago. And I bought them specifically because there wasn't a single card over OVR 60 on there, so I could play in the Laird Boom. So, like
yeah.
his personal tournament, like that's why I bought that team. It's got a couple of Big Wills guys on that team too. And that's why I bought that team. And I actually took that team to win the Laird Boom. So I was really proud about that. So, like, that's the kind of competitor I am. I spent money on a team that was all OVR under 60 to play in a specific tournament with my friends, and I won the tournament. So, yeah,
Hey.
overall, it's just kind of how I look at it. So, things start at Diamond, and they really, if I lose in Diamond, like, I'm very upset when I'm making dinner that night, basically.
Mm. Quick before we move on to dev updates, and I mean, I'll give my season update, but it's nowhere near as lavish as your two. When we had Sid on here a couple of weeks ago, he said that for him, when you go above sort of gold, it doesn't really become as much fun playing. It just becomes a bit sweaty. And especially in Diamond, it's no, that's what he said. In Diamond, yeah, it's good fun, but at the same time, it's hella stressful and hella, sweaty. Would you guys agree with that from your experience? I know Big Will be been in there since day one, essentially. Is that how you find it as well?
I'd say at times yes, because even in the middle of last season, I think I was like 10th or 11th, and I always somehow like come up with a run where I win three or four or five, and like I either finish strong or there's like point in the middle, where I find my own, and like I may like tend to like lose it at the end of the season, but I do enough during that winning stretch to stick around. And honestly, that's the most important part for me, is to make sure that I stay as one of those three diamond clubs that have been in there since like day one. And I'm very
Mm.
proud of that fact. And that's kind of my baseline. Hey, you know what? At the very least, I gotta stick around, like for the next season. And if I have the opportunity to, like push like I have done in the past, I've even won like diamond back in season not point seven, I believe, and finished like second, I think 3 seasons ago now. But yeah, so that's definitely um, my approach, to how like I handle my diamond club. Like anything like relegation isn't even on the table. I gotta stay up. So
Yeah, I always find mid-season when we're either in the streams or sort of the pod that comes middle of the season, I'm always saying, "Oh, Big Will's either like in third or he's in 10th. He's never really like in the middle." But then I always sort of joke that you're the Crystal Palace of Diamond, where regardless what happens at the halfway point, you always seem to, most part, end up fifth to seventh. You always have a little bit of a push for the top three, beginning of the season, and fall away, or a little bit of a scare for relegation, and you find some form of that half a season and you push towards the middle. Which if you push the middle of if you're in the middle of the table and you win the Titans Cup, then I think you look at the equivalent. If a team finished mid-table in the Prem but won the FA Cup, like Crystal Palace, I think that's still a pretty successful season for you. Bob, I'll ask you the same question. Every time you're watching a diamond match with your Soul Iron Pigs, have you got the towel with you because it's so sweaty?
It's yes and no. So I can tell you there's a big difference between my first season and my second season. The first season for me in Diamond was I need to prove that I belong here. My
Mm.
team wasn't, my team
The big
was
boys.
at the bottom, right? Like I had to fight really hard and scrap to get to where I was. And I say to people, like when I'm going for loans now, and so the second season I got a ton of loans. So I had a team that was a top four rated team to start the season, which means that my expectations are no longer just stay up, it's push for the title.
Mm.
So first season was stay up, prove that I belong. Second season, go win it. And now the first season was stressful, and we got to the mid break and I was in the relegation zone. And I spent money to get Beckman and some other pieces. And it's kind of my selling point to other managers that are looking to move players at the midseason is I'm obviously willing to spend money to try to win and maximize your MFL return on guys that you loan me. So why not go with me? Like that's my sell. And it's worked because obviously last season I got a bunch of guys in on loan that really boosted my team up, that made them a prohibitive top three team all season.
Mm.
So it is sweaty. When you have, it depends on your expectations. If you're fighting to stay up, every game matters. It's like it ruins your dinner time if you don't win. If you are fighting to win and you lose a game to a bottom of the table team, you're pulling your hair out. That's why I'm bald on the top of my head. Um, so there's different feelings, and this is kind of always how I've been. And in general, I care a lot about it. I get frustrated, but also it's like when your favorite sports team blows a lead at the end of a match, right? And you're pissed off for a few minutes. Then you're like, okay, I need to move on with my life because I have actual real life responsibilities to take care of. You think about it, you get pissed off, you go breathe, and you move on to the next one because as it turns out, like I lose to Sao Paulo, I still have Roma next, or I still have Big Will next. And that's another game that I have to prepare for and I have to be ready. So nothing stops. It doesn't give me a week like in
Hmm.
real football to contemplate my errors and why variance kicked my ass this week. So
Yeah, I feel like you got done dirty by variance. And I know, Bob, you messaged me afterwards and your last message was rant over or like end of rant. And I was like, I totally respect that. And I think that's fair enough. You're allowed to have a little bit of rant in the situation that you experienced. Um, quick one from my side. My season update is relatively boring compared to you two chaps. Wyverns, actually, I think they finished fourth or fifth. I can't remember where they finished. They won the last game. We relegated. Well, our Bronze League relegated FC Cincinnati, which for those of you who follow the pod and what we do, I'm very happy with that. Although I'm not so happy with the people who have to face him in Iron next season if he's rocking double 89s, double 88s, and 87 in Iron League. There are going to be 11 angry managers facing that. However, knowing the tactics that he's run, well, I don't know. I just know they're pretty poor. They may have some success against him in Iron still. If we can get that team down to stone with a team of legendaries, then I'm all for it. And that shows that tactics do matter. I think that's a great example of why it's not just having big number on front of card that is greater than my opposition's big number on front of card. My Stone team in their first season in Stone came 8th, which is delightful. And then a trial club, Flint club I got a trial club because it was to showcase the process for content reasons. I thought actually I'll go ahead and do it and use the club to bring some people in, to give some rev share out. They ended up coming 3rd. They won their Aspirants Cup, which was quite cool. So people who had loaned in players. Big Will, I want to say you loaned in a player. I'm not 100% sure. You have a big agency, and I all I know is that I have like 25 players in that team, and none of them are mine. So I've got like 15 different managers. So I know you guys have got some decent MFL from me, and that's all that matters. And then they won their 3rd, but lost their sort of like next matchup, which is a bit annoying. So I'm not sure if I will fully commit to going through with that trial club. I'd like to get a Dutch Flint license to brand as like a WenDirk sort of community club. I know the Ramble do an amazing job with their community license, which is now in bronze for season 10. You have the Yorkshire Tea chaps who have their York license, and I feel like it's about time that WenDirk we have a Dutch license, and maybe when Dirk Klassen retires, dare I say, we could maybe bring him into the club, but probably won't because he'll be far too good for Flint. And I'm not sure I can convince Dio to bring him in for his last season when he could get some decent returns in Diamond, but why would he bring him to Flint? But overall, if I had to give a number on my season, I'd probably give it like a 6. Next season, the Wyverns in bronze, I think I'm going to just relax my rules when it comes to restrictions on revenue shares and just go, F it. I just want to get out of bronze now. Even if I come straight back down to season 11, I don't want to be a banter bronze club anymore. I've had enough. I just want to get out of bronze. So that's what we're going to do. Right. Dev updates. Our delightful Friday dev updates. Bit of a small one, but with a few big things thrown in there. Engine-wise, as we know, Season 10 will have the same engine as Season 9. I still would like to know to what extent it's the same. Are these updates we're receiving now going to be incorporated into it? Like goalkeeper behavior. I feel like since I read last week's dev update about goalkeeper behavior, I've seen an uptick in the frequency of abysmal goalkeeper behavior, which I hadn't seen for like 4 weeks. In the final week, I've just seen what can only be described as well, maybe the words can't be used on a podcast here. But anyway, so the engine says continued monitoring, community feedback, and in-match behavior, which led to several improvements in player behavior, especially in defensive areas such as marking and positioning. Thumbs up. Introduce a new system to eliminate unrealistic future-seeing reactions. Players will no longer instantly anticipate interceptions without proper reaction time. So I guess that's sort of like, robots, AI, they just do before they think, whereas humans, they usually think before they do. Implemented the first iteration of an improved call for ball logic, helping players target more relevant areas of the pitch and triggering these movements under a wide range of conditions. And the last one of the engine update is we kept improving the match audio system, continuing to work to make the experience more immersive, which I guess is sort of fan experience. Fans, you're losing 3-0 at home. Do the fans start booing you? They probably won't at first, but that could be quite a cool dynamic to add to the stadium and match experience, especially if you're a manager under the cosh and you've got your own fans booing you. The new fees, which is the one we're all waiting for, the new fee system for kits and rebranding, so it's still ongoing and we're running slightly behind schedule, but we expect to wrap it up by the end of the week. We now know what the structure is for the fees when it comes to kit rebranding and kits and rebranding, sorry. And we've all expected it for season 10 because we knew it was coming, so we've now got that list out there. Trial clubs, they've completed the feature that locks rewards and clubs until they're properly upgraded. So I know when I shared my screenshot, I had my rewards and then next to it a locked symbol and then how much was locked. We're just surprised my trial club ended up bringing like 1,800 MFL. Considering I could only keep 70% of it, 1,800 for a Flint club is pretty decent. And the last two bullet points, they've got major updates, which to be quite frank, go straight over my head. Deployed the backend for club delegation and completed the required database migration. This feature won't be available for season 10. Sad crying face, as the interface is not ready yet. So hopefully season 11, they do have to drop a mid-season update like the kits, but I reckon it'll probably be season 11 by the sounds of things. There's last of all, we deployed to production the new structure for the application code. We also took the opportunity to upgrade several key libraries across the app. And I take it they're not talking about books you go rent from your local library. Anything from either of you two that catches your eye we'd like to discuss in the dev updates? I think the biggest one's probably the fees. We all knew they were coming. We all sort of expected a dynamic fee structure that altered as you went up the pyramids. You're both in Diamond. I think you have to pay 10,000 MFL to rebrand your club. I mean, Big Wilb, you had over 3 million. That's just, like picking a penny off the floor, right? By the time you've rebranded, you probably earned that amount already in the season.
Kind of, but I did make sure to take the opportunity to rebrand one of my clubs. I realized that my Brooklyn Park Rangers like club was pretty much a Queens Park Rangers like clone, like in terms of the logo. So I went ahead and rebranded that to um, Tree City, like MFC. Like they're going up to like Iron, I believe. But
Mhm.
I wanted to make sure that I got that set because last thing I wanted is to have, like a clone of an existing logo or, anything out there that would be like under scrutiny, like where I'd have to change it at some point in time. So,
Mm.
and then like I may look into some of my other like clubs just to do a little bit of tweaking here and there, but I think I'm pretty set, with those.
Yeah, that's nice. Bob, are you pretty set with your rebranding kits for season 10?
I'm content. I mean, I made my changes to my teams, to all of them, just kind of ran them through. I like the colors. I like the things, that everything looks how I like it. It's basically been the same since I started. My soul team is always going to be the same. My logo was made by Calva like way back in the day. So, shout out to him. I'm content with it all. But kind of like what Big Will says, like I don't want to spend money MFL that I don't need to on cosmetic things at this point for me. So,
Yeah.
I didn't earn as much, but simultaneously there are other things to do. There are preseason tournaments, postseason tournaments. There's a bunch of things that require MFL. So I like to keep a little bit of it in the kitty just to know what I'm going to do. And, part of my MFL journey is building those teams up to try to emulate what, people like Big Will have to have those feeder systems. And
Mm.
that takes time. That takes more packs that you need to buy. So the MFL has places and purposes.
Yeah, I think the amount of MFL required is pretty negligible if it's a one-off occurrence that you're doing those rebranding. But if you guys are wanting to rebrand your diamond clubs 5 times, that's 50,000 MFL, which you might then actually think about. Oh, hang on, should I want to be rebranding my club 5 times? Hopefully neither of you are rebranding 5 times in quick succession to warrant the 50,000. But I think at 10,000, you go, if I need to do a big update, I can spend that. But it stops people from just relentlessly changing it. I do wonder if someone did reply on Twitter and said, you know, will there be any there's only, I guess, rules put in place that prevent someone from offering for a club and it goes on floaty and then they get the free rebrand because it's sold. I don't know how they can do that. There's surely things they can do about like under a particular price, but it's as we all know with tournaments and things that happen in MFL, some people will try and find a way around it. As we saw in Gold Rush, as we saw in insert any preseason tournament, there'll probably be some people that will try and get around some branding, but I think the MFL required is pretty negligible in that sense.
Yep.
No, it's fair. It's fair. And in terms of the like changes, especially like when it comes to player like behavior, I'm always the one, hey, if you can make, the like engine like better, just do it. Especially if it's something like goalkeeping like behavior that can, like be seen as breaking the game. So I'll be in favor if they do, like make that particular like tweak and like keep the overall, like engine like the same, but you know, again, we're all like playing on the same like playing field anyway. So, whatever moves forward, but that's just my take. If you can make something better, that's just like the engineer in me.
Yeah, I can. I think things like the goalkeeper behavior, I would assume they'd be changed, but I can understand they've all had the stance of we won't change things mid-season, and I understand that. And then once you do, then change something mid-season, what's the threshold for what becomes a change that needs to be happening mid-season versus something that has to be left 6, 5, 4, whatever weeks until the next engine? But I think when we looked at some of the goalkeeping behavior, and truth be told, it has been something that has been prevalent for for quite a few seasons, really, over the last 4 or 5. Is I would like to think that's probably one thing that gets changed.
And Jimbo, when it comes to goalkeeper behavior, I want it changed too, but I don't know how to
Yeah,
do this
it's
because we see such unique examples of it. And the problem is when you are streaming my match and my goalkeeper is not making a grab, like against Naples early in the season, where my goalkeeper is just standing there like he's a brand new keeper in like high school or in uni. Like he just doesn't know what he's doing, and he's a 94 rated keeper. That's the kind of thing that like blows my mind. But simultaneously, then we have a situation like my Sao Paulo match where a simple cross came in and my goalkeeper got it and just tapped it to Sao Paulo's striker, who's just standing there and taps it in the net. Like these things, I know they happen in the real world sometimes, but not typically at the like Bundesliga and Prem
yeah,
level. And like so, those are things like how do you change those goalkeeper behaviors and the decision making for Diamond alone? Because you can't, right? Like there
mm,
are things that are going to happen that I would be shocked to see in any other level, but I expect those kind of fun things to happen in Spark and Flint because it's like Sunday League football, right? But it's hard to say we need full goalkeeper revamps when we're watching Bob's team streamed or Big Will's team streamed on the WenDirkCast. And the goalkeepers are doing things that they should never do, right? Like it's hard. I don't know how you do those things, but like to Big Will's point, as an engineer, I want these things to work. Like
mm,
period. Like I want my guys to have to make quick runbacks on through balls, right? Like I don't like you should be able to anticipate like you anticipate a pass to the corner so your CBs, your wingbacks can get back there, right? But you don't know where it's going to go. Like you have to read the eyes of the ball, read the eyes of the passer, and like you're late on it. Like your guy should already be running behind. Like Anthony Gordon in Newcastle should be already running past you. You have to catch up.
mm.
It's like there's those different mechanics that go through there. And I don't know how to change those. It's not my job to change it, but man, I want my goalkeepers to stop making stupid mistakes. And I don't want my center back to take out a slower striker when you're one on one with my 94 rated keeper to give me a red card and lose me a match. Like those are the kind of things I was like, oh man. I mean, I
Yeah,
would do that because I'm slow, old, and fat, and I just like tackle you, but I'd make it worth it, you know. But yeah,
I feel that's all like the fan experience, isn't it? When you're watching a game in the stadium or on TV, you're like, I know what's going to happen. Why can the players not see that and stop that? But then if you were there, stood on the field, you're like, actually, I haven't got a clue what's coming my way. Like the
yeah,
perspective of a player is completely different. And that's why I kind of sometimes say with this whole like IRL reasoning, it works to an extent and then it doesn't because it shouldn't in some scenarios. Like, yeah, you're right. In the Bundesliga, these, and other professional leagues and top quality leagues, these goalkeeping errors don't happen as much, but they do. But then you see some of the errors and you go, well, when you take that context, that probably shouldn't happen. I think there was Ron John posted one and an indirect free kick came into the goalkeeper and there's probably an attacking player 10 yards away and he palms it to him. And you're like, well, actually, in the context of that scenario, why would the keeper with no one around him palm it out? When the ball's just coming to his chest. Like, what's the reasoning there? People go, oh, it's IRL. Context. But we could, to be fair, be chatting about the engine for a long while. But obviously, we greatly appreciate the work that Quinton Yax and Bastiste now doing as well. And I think Bastiste being in the team really benefits how that development goes because he sees it from a playing perspective. He will
mhm,
understand the frustrations that users sometimes have, and because he has that connection with the player base because he was previously a player, he almost bridges that gap between people atting Quinton and ranting and engine feedback versus someone could just probably just DM Bastiste or so and it works equal the same way.
yeah. And,
um
and Jimbo, on that real quick, I'm actually happy that they feel comfortable with the engine to the point where they're not changing it because at some
mm,
point they had to get there.
yeah.
Because I mean, I think that I can only speak for myself, but having to relearn a meta, an engine every single time as to what is going to work is not always easy. And we spend all of these weeks doing it. And I don't know how Big Will can do it with all of his teams because everything is different based on the players that you have. And so I appreciate so now this season it allows me to focus less on trying to figure out what the engine is and what it's going to be, and I can focus on my team construction, which I feel like I've been a little lackluster on in the past because I'm trying to figure out the engine. So there's always a balance to these
Mm.
things.
Yeah, I've always wondered if next season becomes a lot more competitive across the pyramid because people who didn't have a chance to sort of kind of figure out the engine and may have sort of got a bit lucky with results and variants, etc., actually go, well, I've got a bit of time now to try and figure out what's going on here, and do they catch up to those people who did have an advantage, we'll call it, because of did their testing and their pre-season correctly. But yeah, I'm glad they've done the same engine for season 10 and not have this chop and change. Even if some people doesn't feel like chop and change, I think for the majority of the community, it did feel like chop and change. So it gives people a bit more time to prepare for season 10 and know what to expect. And people don't like the unknown. And sometimes going to season, you didn't know how the engine was going to pay out. My preseason was always, if I run my same setup, am I in the mud? Do I have to actually run 50 games now to figure out what works because last season's doesn't work? Because that's happened to me before. So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah.
Right. Like on that note, like that's why like you saw like a lot of tides like change probably around like mid-season last season, which typically like, happens. I know a lot of people like complain that, hey, you know what, this engine changed, from like the first part of the season to the second part of the season. Hey, you know what? We're humans and we're all trying to win. So if things aren't working out for us, we're gonna switch it up.
Yep.
We're gonna throw everything against the wall, like to see what works and see what sticks, and then we're gonna find more about the engine as opposed to if you're doing really well, you're like, well, I'm gonna stay with the status quo, but that's not always the best. So, all those tinfoil hat guys out there, they're like, oh, hey, you know what? The engine like changes. The engine doesn't change. Your opponents do, right? And that's why we love this game, right?
Mm.
Because we're not facing, a CPU. We're facing real humans that are going to make human changes and they're going to make, human mistakes and are going to learn from those mistakes.
I love that.
That's so important because, like I said before at the start, my high scoring offense runs into four people that are really good tactically on defense, and you can shut down the high scoring offense. So it's not the engine changing. There are changes that are made, subtle changes made on defense, on depth, all of those things to stop Beckman, to stop those guys, to stop Big Will's attack. So like we don't give it enough credence for what it is. And like there's a reason that every division that you're in, you have different levels of people that are going to be doing these things, and you're going to see those changes. So Big Will is
Mm,
100% right because my first half of the season was stellar. Second half, not so much. So like,
mm.
yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I don't think it's before we go to Diamond League and what's going to be like for next season. I don't think, like you two chaps have just said, it's no surprise that for the last 3-4 seasons, especially in Diamond, we're seeing some teams perform really badly. First half of the season, then perform well second half, and vice versa. I don't think now after 4 or 5 seasons happening, that's just purely coincidence. There's, Ronan's a great example. It sometimes has like really poor first half of seasons and then just smashes it second half of season. If he does that season after season, I don't think that's just chance, favouring him. That's the bloke being relentless when it comes to friendlies. And more on the topic of Ronan and the division that he's in, and the same as you guys. Obviously, we usually do our little diamond recap. We've kind of spoken about
We
those
can
who
skip this part.
we can, we've kind of spoken about how you two have influenced last season. Just for a recap of who's being relegated, because we spoke about who's won the league. DFC Amsterdam Lions, Dio's team, being relegated, although Dio's second team is coming up from Platt, so it's sort of like, oh, hello, just a switcheroo coming into it, so probably no difference for his agency. Herta with his Naples gold feathers. He has posted he's selling out completely, but water's wet, grass is green. And then
It's
finishing
already
in
started.
12th. When it's already started.
Well, like he sold like a goalkeeper to like Bob here, right? Yep, yep. That 94 rated guy. So you got a really good deal on him. So I'm not
I
sure like how
mean,
you got it from that price.
because he has one more season, which means he's going to get like 9 games max. Because these guys, like all of a sudden, like they go from being 35 years old to like 85 years old once they're in their last season. And so, like, I have to make sure I have all of my like assistive devices for that goalkeeper. But when it comes to Diamond, like we have the guys that we use. So you only need 9 or 10 games from these guys anyway. So
Yeah. Then we've got Hamburg Harmony, owned by Trust the Process, but we know who's a real owner of that license. Being you, Big Will, being relegated. Those who are coming up from Platt, we said Dio's, Barca Magia, Basil with his Basil MFC, which is great to see Basil returning to Diamond, which was up, what seems a long time for those who were into MFL prior to season one. That Basil was always no one got relegated prior to season one, but he was always a big player before season one. So it's great to see him returning to back to Diamond. We've also had Fins Deportivo Quito being promoted via that second v second, beating BFC Buenos Aires, which was managed by Greco. Tonight, we then have the BFC Manchester versus GTA Ontario. It's that Platinum versus Diamond. By the time you're listening to this, it's probably finished. It will be finished. And as a matter of fact, it kicks off in 2 minutes' time. So we can give you a live update as to who will be our final Diamond League team. Obviously, it's a bit too early to tell because we've still got a pre-season, a transfer window to happen before season 10 starts. And I guess it's kind of a bit awkward to ask you two because you are both in Diamond, so you might have slightly biased views on who might perform well in Diamond and what your predictions are. And one of Sid's questions was, our top 3 predictions for season 10. That may or may not include Diamond. But if I had to pin you guys to a winner for season 10, and I will allow you to say yourselves because Bob, I feel like that might be one of your answers. Big Will, but put the pressure on you first. who do you think, with 10 days before even a match kicks off in season 10 and the transfer window embarks on us, who would be your favorite? If I gave you £10, who are you putting your bet on?
It's gotta be like Ronan, right? Like he has the like track record. He doesn't like the taste of losing. So I know he's gonna be um friendlying those matches like to death, right? He's going to be purchasing players, like that, like he thinks he's weak in. Um, so that'd be my odds-on favorite. I think I've got, a puncher's chance in there, but the odds-on favorite, I would always say like Ronan until um, said otherwise. Of course, Visconti Milano, right? XVIX did a great job managing that team. Uh, you know, uh, I'm sure he's going to bring a lot of the same players back. So probably like a close second there, but those are two that I would say are the two favorites. But again,
Mm.
as it, especially with plenty of like diamond managers that want to, get every single inch, anything is possible. So
Mm. Bob, come to you. Um, I, over the last couple seasons, and you said there, Big Will, there's always sort of people wanting to win, be the best. Bob, you've been one of those managers that not only pre-season but mid-season, you've always been relentless at strengthening your side. And you said when you first went into Diamond, you had that sort of struggle and chance that you could have been relegated from Diamond. Then suddenly the next season, you're flipping it around. You're challenging, for a title that was only 3 or 4 matches, or a couple of matches even from grabbing the title there. Who are your who is your favorite for season 10? And most, maybe I'll ask this question directly: is it yourself you're going to predict? Is that insider knowledge?
I mean, yeah, like I am going to win this season. Like, like, yeah. But if I were to, I mean, I have supreme confidence in myself. I know where my errors were last season. I know that I have some gaps to fill, and I know that I've already added a number of new pieces to my squad. I know where those gaps are, and I've already filled them.
Mm,
So I'm confident in my ability to get there. I'm not confident in my center back's abilities to make stupid plays, right? Like, that's like, I mean, I'm not confident in Mackler not being an idiot in goal. So like these things happen. But if I am putting odds on somebody, like I think that Big Will is right. The betting odds are on XVIX with Biscone and they're on Ronan. They're always going to be because, as Big Will said, Ronan's already filled his spot where Susteric, his right back, is already been replaced. He's already done a good job with that. Like it's already done. So, I mean, I'm thinking that the three of us will be the top three and we are going to fight each other all the way through. And it's just going to be one of those kind of things as it comes down to it. And I think that we are all going to hit those 4 game gaps and just comes down to when do we hit them and how badly do they affect us is really what it comes down to. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this thing, and yeah, I mean, I fully expect to win Diamond this season. That
I was going to
is
say there's the
that's
clippable
honest truth.
segment of this pod. It's is Bob saying, "I fully expect myself to
Yeah,
win Diamond," and I think as long as, I mean, obviously, Bob, for your sake, if you won Diamond with 4 games left, you'd be over the moon. But from a neutral point of view, I want it to go down to the wire in the last match day. If it goes down to what it did last season, I'm all for that. Although those 3 managers involved, probably not so, because you're all there with 3 towels around you, with all the sweat and the fear and stress of that final match day. But
I mean,
um,
the last season, like it didn't work out for me. Like my team fell apart, and this happens, right? But if I beat Sao Paulo, if I don't get a red card and I beat Sao Paulo, and I come around and I beat Roma, I win Diamond.
Yeah.
Like it didn't really matter. Like I was still Diamond was still the title was still in my hands, even with getting like crushed by Ronan. Like it was still there for me to win. And so, yeah, I mean, anything can happen. Like I said, I hit my 4 game skid at the end of the season. Ronan hit his in the front half of the season. Like these things happen.
And it's it's like in real life, which I said 10 minutes ago, I hate using this as a reason, but it's like in real life, teams have a bad patch of form, and it's
Yeah.
always like in the Premier League, a team can be storming 10, 15 games unbeaten, and everyone goes, "Well, when is their bad patch of season going to appear?" And more times than not, they'll have a poor run of form, and unfortunately, in your case, Bob, it was the most meaningful games of the season, and there's usually a slim chance a team never actually has a bad patch just because they're that dominant, like your Liverpool of your COVID years, and so on and so forth. Um, but I mean, I would probably say Meta as well. If I was being a bit edgy, I'd say it's someone that's not Ronan or XVIX. But I know if SR Monkey was sat here hosting this episode, he'd be it's Bob or Sid, and he was so close to it being right. And my other prediction last season of not a top 3 team winning the Titans Cup came to fruition. So Big Wilb, thank you very much. And I am also on my second screen here watching BFC Manchester versus GT
Same.
Ontario, which I know you are as well, Big Will, because I can see your face moving at the same time goals
It
go
just
in as
went up.
I'm. Yeah,
It's
Manchester
Joker's
just went up
currently
3-2.
winning 3-2. So there
yeah,
is 20 minutes left for Joker and BFC Manchester to hold on to a 3-2 lead, and then they will be leapfrogging Greninja into Diamond.
my man McLeod. That's my card. He just scored to put
Yeah,
Manchester ahead too. Yep.
yeah, yeah. That the Aussie striker, Mr. Darren himself.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
But right, let's hit the market moves. Um, Again, another plea for the sales air table to be fixed. So I'm not just stuck at looking at transactions between April to October the 20th. I would like to see more than that because Splash of the Week becomes quite difficult unless someone like Sid pulls in a big buy, which he did this week. So without further ado, Splash of the Week. And if it wasn't for someone posting this in the Discord, I would never have seen this because there's so much transactions that happen within the sales bot. This week's Splash of the Week goes to Sid, who purchased a name I've had to practice a little bit because, I'm not great at pronunciations. Tai Gyong Gonzalez, which seems like an interesting South Korean name. Starts off quite South Korean, ends not quite so South Korean. He's a 96 rated 29-year-old, was purchased by Sid for 1,750 USD. He's a centre mid by primary position, right mid secondary, 96 overall, pace 68, shooting 95, passing 99, dribbling 94, defending 92, physical 95, sold by one of Calvin and I's favourite users because of his name is You. It's just a fun name to say. Sold by You, purchased by Sid. Sid is this week's Splash of the Week, dropping $1,750 on Tae Gyong Gonzalez, 96 rated centre mid. My initial reaction was I understand sometimes you need to have a risk profile when it comes to purchasing players, and I want to get your two opinions on this. Is it slightly risky buying a player before rollover day in an age where he could throw out a symbol? Is that slightly too risky, or am I just overthinking things here from my perspective?
And especially like a 29-year-old, I wouldn't be too worried about it just because like I'm looking at him now. So his is in the 16,000s, so it's like below that, um, you know, uh, so like his average age retirement is gonna be like 37.
Yeah,
So the risk you take, especially when someone's looking to sell a player like this, is like that someone like me or Bob will buy that player like before you do, and then you kind of lose that opportunity to, you know, like buy that player and like upgrade your club. So Sid, he finished fourth, like a diamond last season. He definitely wants to um rise up to the top three, and these are the kind of moves that you do to get there.
I mean, yeah, when we look at Sid's, previous seasons and Diamond, this season he had a very strong start, and I think maybe when a team falls away a bit, could you look and say, is it the strength in depth? Is it just the strength in general? Is it managers being and adapting around him? And one of the best solutions to improving your squad is just to go and buy a better player and then introduce that player into your squad. Bob, that's something you've done for a number of seasons now. As diamond managers, when someone else buys a player of this caliber, do you sort of go, "Oh, I kind of wish I picked him up," or is it not quite like that?
I mean,
Sometimes, when Joe B sold off, there was a couple of those like sales that I was pretty jealous of. And then there's still the big like bogey out there where like Herta, like is looking to sell as well. So I'm just kind of bracing myself to see where those players go if he does finally drop the bucket and actually, like sells off. So whenever something like that happens, it's just kind of a mad scramble to get those high level players and upgrade your squad at, you know, uninflated like rates, right? Because, me, if I were to sell one of my players to another diamond manager, I'd want top dollar, right? But, if someone's looking to sell out, like they've already thrown up their sale flag and, hey, you know what? I'm just looking to get rid of this guy like at all costs. I think he's like I think like Herta said that he doesn't want to see these players and these like clubs anymore. So like that's the furthest that I think he's gone. But he pretty much
Yeah.
says something along those lines every season, which is why it was on the bingo card.
Mm. And it feels like one of those where it's a bingo card that someone can influence just by sending a message. It seems maybe a bit too much of a conflict of interest there, where he could just, if there was real bingo card, and this was a real game at stake, he could just, just pop a message in there and go, "Oh, I'm selling up," and cross it out. But um,
It's actually like a badge of honor. I've probably had one or two matches where I've beaten him. He's probably had a stronger team, and he posts about selling off right afterwards.
mm,
Like there's no better feeling in the world than like someone wanting to rage quit after losing to you.
mm, mm. Um, Bob, Sidge dropped 1750 on a player. Was it someone that you were also looking to grab? Is pre-season this season, without giving it any, too much of your MFL transfer information out there to the community, maybe to competitors who might try and extort you for the information. Um, is it something you're looking to do this season? Bolster up your squad with purchases or loans in, that sort of thing?
yeah, of course. I mean, I've already signed up a couple loans because I have now two massive holes at center mid to fill. You can't replace Coma. Like you can't do that in the game. So I look at this move by Sid and Gonzalez, I mean, 96 CM, like that's the closest thing I could bring in to replace Coma, right?
Mm,
And with BFC Manchester now on its way up to Diamond with a big win here, what that means for me too is that I also lose Shin. Shinarel is gone for me too. So now maybe I'm not as confident in myself winning Diamond anymore. you know. So like it's hard to lose a 96 and a 97 CM, guys. Like, what do you do?
I,
So
I'm, I mean, one of Sid's questions of the three he asked was, "How are you planning for the potential retirements if your squad has any?" And then his third question was, "With three big Ultimate players retiring this season, is this a sign of a minor drop off in quality to come in the next few seasons?"
yeah,
How maybe we can kind of transition to this community question piece and a bit about season 10, but how I mean, you said Coma, he will be a big impact for you, Bob. Big Will, have you got any major pieces of your agency, particularly in Tango, retiring this season or in the next few seasons?
Well, like I get the big gravestone from Dario before this season, so that was like a heartbreak. He's been solid up there. He's won the Golden Boot a couple times, like in Diamond already. He actually won the Golden Boot in the Titans Cup. He led that route. He went from being my top tier guy to being my second guy, just because even that little bit of uh, um, um, refreshing of his like energy, it it affects it that much. I'm sure Bob, like you can attest to like Coma that last season, like you could hardly like play him like back to back games. So it's only going to get worse from that point. I had like a 94 rated like CM that like played on Harmony that got it off. But honestly, I've been pretty fortunate and I'm expecting, all like hell to break loose in the next couple seasons. To be honest, I'm expecting one or two, of my like top guys because up until this past season, I haven't had any of my ultimates, knock on wood, put up that flag. But I know it's going to happen, right? It's like nature of the game. That's what we signed up for and all that. And I've been very fortunate to be able to keep my solid core together. But I know it's going to happen. Luckily, I have a huge agency. I just like pumped 10 like legendary like players, like on the last round with rewards day and rollover day and all that. I'm not going to do as much this season, but again, when you have such a large agency, you can pretty much pick and choose like the best guys to like come up, like when someone like goes down. So,
Mm.
I've got a couple of I don't know, 92, 93 like rated um center backs that could probably like play in like diamond that are like gonna like play in like platinum next year. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm just throwing a bunch more like darts at the board, and whoever comes up to fill that need is gonna fill it.
Yeah, it's
A bit, a
it's
bit
hard to
different. A bit, yeah, I say a bit different for you then, Bob, because you haven't got quite the luxury of having such a huge agency where you could pull in over 3 million MFL a season and reward packs and try and replenish. How does how does it look for you in terms of replacing those ultimate players and those high end players that end up retiring?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna see it with Coma, right? So Coma's gone. I lost Shin as well. So my midfield, like I said, is already been wasted. But with Herta going down and with some changes that have come through, that's opened up other guys to come to my team. So knowing that I would lose Coma, I reached out to one of the users. I think I can't remember the name exactly, but got Bentley, the ultimate CM that Herta was using. So I've already signed him to my team for next year. I signed Kamal Anna, 94 CM that Frag usually uses. He's got a lot of pace in midfield. So I've already reinforced my midfield and added two high quality players to
Mm.
pick up the slack that's there. And hopefully I can re-sign Quan from FT from the Fortress. And we'll see from Rajan. And we'll see how it goes. If I can get those three in, I've already got two. If I can get Quan in, I'm going to be pretty steady in my midfield. And I just have to make sure that the rest of my team pushes through. I've got a lot of guys, and obviously Beckman is the main guy that we all look at. Like he has to throw the flag up at some point, right? Like it's going to happen. So I can't get too upset when it does. I mean, the guy he's literally one dribble away from 99, Jimbo.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
so that's a guy you can't replace. So, what are you going to do? So does that mean Big Will, like when he hits 99 and he finally retires in his last season, like I could probably still play him at like a 95 level when he's at like 75% energy, right? So like yeah. So, but that's the thing though, Jimbo. So, I need my guys like Renaud, who's a couple away from hitting ultimate as well, to really pop over. I need McLeod, who's a couple away to pop over and just get that. But also, it makes you think, well, Bob is going to lose Beckman soon. if Bob waits until rollover, is El Sayed still going to be there from Herta? Is Jamal still going to be there from Herta, or is somebody like Big Will or somebody else going to pump a lot of money in and just buy him? So,
Mm.
those are the things that I have to figure out for myself because I want to stay and I don't have as big of a gallery as Big Will, but also I have a lot of riches when it comes down to it. I have a gold team that's going to have a 91, almost 92 left back, a 93 center back, and a 92 center back. Like, oops, sorry. like, and a 91 goalkeeper. So, I've got guys on the till that are playing and starting and going to be popping up, but the thing is, I need that team to go to plat. I need those guys to get more and more and more. And
Mm.
so replacing for me will every season I will end up getting a couple. I have a deal in place now to get a couple guys. I just bought a brand new right wing the other day from Eric Barbaric from Meta Sports Company. So got a new 94 right winger that's coming in. That saves a loan for me. I have hopefully I can sign a new left winger that'll come in too. And if I'm able to sign Zarate, then all of a sudden we're right back to kind of where we are.
Mm.
So, we have to keep rotating these guys. And the thing is, to get to ultimate, it takes time. None of these guys are going to be young. The fact that I got Davidson as an ultimate when he was like 24, 25, he's already pushed to 97. He's got 99 potential as well. So, those are the kind of guys that are really the diamonds in the rough. Everyone else is like a 33-year-old midfielder or a 33-year-old striker. So, having guys in their mid to late 20s now, that aren't even ready, that can't even get the retirement flag, is going to be big for my gallery when it comes down to it.
Mm.
But the larger problem, Jimbo, and we haven't even talked about it, is the fact that Mackler has 2 more seasons and then he'll be retiring. Kuhn, who I just picked up, is retiring next season. So my goalkeeper situation is going to be very, very problematic if I don't get any bumps from that 91 keeper that I have. So these are the things that I don't know how to deal with, and I'm trying to playing it by ear. I'm telling everybody that I'm trying to reach out to that, hey, I'm going to be buying guys at the midseason, so you might as well loan them to me if you want to maximize your MFL. And everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. Finished third last year. We're cheering for you to win this thing, so yeah, I'll give you my guy at 10% because heck, I'll take 100,000 MFL on one player. So, and that was without me even making the round of 16 in Titans because I swear the worst thing that happened to me other than losing this season was the fact that Sao Paulo stayed up. I love Brian, but Jesus, I can't beat them to save my life. They are the bane of my existence.
The
In
bogey team.
4 matches, I think I've scored twice, and he's beaten me 14-1 in 4 matches. I'm like, what is happening? I don't get it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
when you looked at your two teams on paper and said 14-1, yeah. Speaking of Ronan, let's
yep,
come on to some more community questions. Taggart
yeah,
says, does facing the Mercs feel like you're banging your head against the wall, just waiting for it to eventually stop hurting?
no,
Ooh.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. I went 1-1 against Ronan this year, and he beat me 3-0, and I beat him 3-0. So, that's the thing. Like, I got a little funky. I tried to get a little unique to rest some strikers to be ready for Sao Paulo and Biscone at the end in Roma. And I figured that I was going to lose to Ronan. I did. It's not that I still put out a team that tested really well against him, but Ronan is beatable because Big Will and I have the guys on our teams that can compete with him.
Mm.
So his setup is great. He's an excellent manager, and quite honestly, you need to get lucky. You need some mistakes to happen. You need to take advantage of his wingbacks trying to push up too high. You need to steal a pass and then get him behind for a goal. That's how you beat Ronan. And if it doesn't happen, you're going to have a hard time. It's going to be a bad day. But he's not as unbeatable as people think. You know, he's still very tough. He's still the
Mm.
favorite, no matter what you do, no matter what I say.
Yeah.
But It's no longer like that. I mean, quite honestly, I am more stressed playing Sao Paulo than I am running. Brian's tough. He's good. I mean, I joke with Sid, Jimbo. If Brian, okay, yeah, sure, had my team last year, like easy diamond title for him. Easy
Yeah,
diamond title.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's he's that quality manager. Like I've always felt this way about XBIX too. You give him the tools, he'll win diamond. Gave him the tools this season with Scrubs team, and he won diamond.
Yeah.
There are some really great managers up here, and so I don't think it's given enough credit for how great the managers actually are. And we saw what can happen with a really great team, which is why I'm excited to see if Finn can keep doing what he's doing up here because man, that 3-5-2 is deadly. The problem
Mm,
is the problem is he needs speed to do it, and everybody that we have is just as fast.
yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Speaking of, sorry, I'll let you answer that question, Bobby. Will, speaking of promoted teams into Diamond, congrats to Yoka and BFC Manchester for beating Greninja's GTA
Yes, sir.
Ontario 3-2 in that third that ninth versus ninth playoff spot. Good to see a BFC team returning to Diamond, albeit a bit of a shock that it's not BFC Barcelona when you look at how the teams are set up. But very interested to see, which I imagine Yoka would keep hold of that team for season 10. Be exciting to see how the dynamics work and play out within the ballers now in terms of the player distribution. Because does BFC Manchester now become the flagship team? I don't know. Maybe we'll bring some of the Dow guys on at some point to explain that to us. But it's an interesting one at play there. Big Will, you've played against Ronan and done for the last 10 seasons. When you see you're playing against him, as Tag said, do you feel like you're banging a head against a wall, or are you a bit like Bob and you're like, hang on, no, I can match you 1-for-1 here?
Well, like, sometimes, like I pretty much like see it as 70% of the time Meta's gonna win. I'm gonna win maybe like 20 to 25 like percent of the time, but you have to put yourself in position. Um, I'm gonna essentially throw like a weird like tactic out there or like something that I might have like seen like in a prior match that like Ronan has played that like Meta has played like in the past, just to like Bob said, get behind his defense because for the most part he plays a pretty high line, so like you're pretty much like playing a very um uh controlled, but hey, you know what? There are some like chinks in the armor there, but essentially, yeah, like you just got to put your best foot forward, come in with like a strategy, stick to it, and then see where it goes. Like maybe like you'll get lucky, and he goes out in the round of 16, like he did in the like Titans Cup. Because he's
Mm.
always like a perennial, to go all the way to the finals. I've actually faced off with him a couple times in the finals and lost. Um, but same thing with like last season. I think he beat me like 2 or 3 to nothing in like the first match, and then like I actually beat him on the back, 1-1 to nothing, and that's I think when like Bob was probably the most like favorite to win the like Diamond League after like I pulled off that result, and it kind of looked like it was inevitable. But as you see, anything can change in a couple matches.
Mm. Indeed, yeah. Well, there's only 22 matches being played in the league. You know, you can pin it down to one match where it all went sideways for a particular team. Obviously, Bob will say Sao Paulo. In your case, you can pick it down to a couple of matches. Got a few more community questions. We'll try and rattle through some quickly. Andrew Q says, "Does player height actually matter? Seems inconclusive. If anyone knows the answer, it has to be Diamond League managers who pay attention to anything that provides an advantage." Now, this is, some people do look at it, some people don't look at it. We know it has a minimal impact, so we are told. Bob, does player height actually matter for you and how you play MFL?
No.
Okay, good answer. Do you want to expound that any more? I think no's pretty good answer.
Beckman's 5'6". He heads the ball in on corners all the time. Like it can't really matter if I mean I understand that he is he and Kovacs are the two best strikers in the game, but I expect him to be more Michael Owen and not Peter Crouch. But man, I would much rather a corner head to Beckman's head than anybody else. It's going in. So
Mm,
I just it has a small impact, but I don't think it has a massive impact. I don't think it
yeah,
has enough to make a true difference in what's going on. Like I said, we could probably go back and chart where all of his goals came from, but he had a number of ones that were headed in. I mean, I don't think that Renaud is very tall either, and I've got a number of headed in goals that go through there. So I don't think it really matters too much when it comes right down to it. Now, I will say I don't like smaller defenders because one of the things I noticed, and I don't know how to stop it, Big Will, is a question for you, but I give up a lot of crappy goals on set pieces, and I just don't know what to do.
Everyone has.
Yeah, it's just like what the hell?
Everyone has.
Like my 6'4" guy doesn't like always gives up set piece goals, but my 5'3" like short king has no problem stopping a set piece. Like I don't get it. So I don't know.
So like, here's the thing that a lot of people like don't take into like account with those like set pieces and with like headers and like crosses across the middle. Physical is very important for that. So that's why Beckman, like a 99, at that. Like I was living off of Savadra, having like a 90 plus for ages. But and especially with this latest engine, they can clear out some room, where like they can get that little bit of space, in traffic and like they're able to put it in. Maybe I'm wrong. You know what? Who knows? You know what? Like I don't see behind, but like I watch probably like 30 to 35 like matches every single day. So this is kind of what I see and that, like I look at, like players attributes and but it does take into effect a little bit. Like it's in there. They say that that it makes a difference. It does, even that small little infinitesimal like amount. Like, but honestly, I think it makes more sense for like goalkeepers in the width that they're able to like dive and stop a ball, essentially when they're like teleporting, right? Hey, you know what, like the guy stood still and then like at the last second he just kind of like dove out there and
yeah.
like grabbed it with like one hand or whatever. But yeah, that's where I see it making more sense than defending um or like putting a goal in. Would I prefer, everything being equal? I would prefer, to have like a taller, striker, like a taller center back, but it's really not going to like make or break, my decision making. I'm going to put the best player out there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think probably most people, like you said, they're big will, but towards the end, if everything remained equal, ceteris paribus, I think it's the Latin term for that. Thanks to my economics
So,
teacher 10 years ago. But
so Jim,
God,
and last thing on that real quick. If height truly mattered, there would be a filter for height in the marketplace. There's not a filter for height. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're probably not wrong there. I was going to say I never knew there was a price filter for about 18 months, so maybe there is a height filter, and we just don't know it's there.
probably is.
um, right, we've got Bruce Lee. His first question is: how often do your strikers miss from the middle of the 6-yard box? On a
All
scale
the
of one
time,
to okay, you both saying
all
all
the
the time.
time.
Yep.
More than they should, more
I,
than they should, and it happens the opposite where like you know the other striker makes it almost like every single time. And I know it's the like highlights, only like showing certain situations, but it just drives me up a wall. But there, there,
All the time.
I'm sure that's the answer he wanted to hear.
yep. He just wanted to hear it's
All
not
the
just
time.
him having those situations.
All the time. Beckman will dribble your goalkeeper, then be like, Dirk, and just kick it out of bounds. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're the best striker in the game. Don't do that. Like, come on, man.
I'm gonna combine So Rare Crazy and Bruce Lee's questions here, which they've kind of essentially said. Well, Bruce has said what was the hardest thing about getting to Diamond? Which I guess for you, Big, we can kind of answer about Big Harmony, but I'll
Well, hat.
let Bob explain this one because you've just said Big will be just say just make sure you buy a Diamond Club 24 months ago and hold it until season one, then
Actually,
you're in Diamond.
technically, I have brought two like old
Yeah,
clubs up to the promised land. So, but it's a matter of one, like you got to have the horses, two, like you got to put in the work, and three, you just got to get like fortunate, because like sometimes there's like a down, um, you know, uh, like Platinum League for whatever reason, and like you just have to rise above the scrum.
yeah. Because
It,
Sorare Crazy says, is it formations, players, teams, scouting oppositions, tactics,
All of
stats?
it.
You're saying
all of
all
it.
of it, and Bob, you'd agree with that?
It's all of it, but it's also which teams get demoted. Like, I do not want to play against this GTA Ontario team in Platinum. Like, that team is stacked. Like, I have faced with my Soul Pigs when I was trying to come up. Like, Barcelona got down into my league. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do? He's like 1040 is his team to come back. Like, what do you like Naples? Like, I played Naples like when they got relegated. I placed like Barcelona. Like, it's just some of these teams you can't say like how good these teams are. They get relegated. So you have to be very aware of what's going on. And this season's a little bit different. Big Will's teams are always good when they come back and they come into platinum, but Dio's team, like Dio has the same team that he uses in platinum that he wins all the time. So like
Mm.
there is just a big rotating turnstile that kind of happens there. And there are some big agencies that have great teams. I mean, I'm telling you that my gold team has a 92 on average back line. Like, okay, what? So it's hard. Like you have to think about like there's only one league that's coming down in Diamond, and those Diamond teams are tough to beat. There's a reason that they got there. They were dominant in Platinum the year before, or they were just in Diamond for a while. So yeah, it's a tough thing, and I just don't think that people think about that enough.
I think one of Bruce's follow up question was, do you have any advice for managers looking to climb the ranks and get to Diamond? I think you guys have summarised and answered that quite well in those answers. Risu, thank you so much for suggesting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions. Unfortunately, Risu, we're not going to be able to answer all 9 of them. I'll probably go through 2 of them before we talk about some rewards and things like that. One of them I can answer quite quickly. He said, please ask, do you agree Jimbo should host a beautiful Christmas stream in his new house? Bit of context if people want any extra news on that. I get the keys this Friday. Will be Friday the 21st. I
Congrats.
don't officially thank you. I don't officially move in then. I've still got a couple of weeks worth of painting and flooring, etc. because developers could do that for us, but they want an arm and a leg for them to do it for us. We'd rather save money. There's a chance we could see a couple streams in season 10 from the new place, but if not, it will be like a New Year surprise for everyone to have. But I've been carefully thinking about how the background's going to look, and it won't just be hashtag when. There's even the
I
there
love
we
it.
go.
Jimbo's
We
in
got
shorts. Like I'm in a bird sweater here, like freezing.
I'm in a quarter zip and shorts right now. Because as long as my legs are warm, then I don't really care about the rest of my
Yep.
body. But yeah, we'll hopefully see some season 10 new house streams. But Big, we look like going to say something. Am I right?
Yeah, just when can I like redeem my like shirt change?
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I won't answer that. Brilliant. That's not an allowed question. When can you redeem it? Hmm. If we can get if you can somehow put a sign up which says, I don't even know how much a shirt change is these days. That's how much I've lost it from there. 2,500, 3, I can't remember. It's a fair amount.
It's like 4.5 or something, but like I've
Really?
got
Has
like four
inflation
bands.
hit that hard in the channel? Cool. I might have to. Maybe Zooturk and the moderator can bring that down. If he can and he doesn't know about it, then I might be in trouble. Anyway, right. Risu says, please ask, do you agree? An Antarctic an Antarctic club
Yes.
location is not unrealistic in the MFL world and would give managers the possibility to have clubs from all 7 continents. Do you agree?
Sure,
Yes.
why not? Right.
Why not?
that's one of the clubs that would go for like such a high price. You thought like London or like Paris was bad. Put an Antarctica one there, and even like a Flint one could probably go for $300-400 easy. So
Yeah. I mean, and I would try to get that thing to diamond as fast as humanly possible, like all 12 seasons it would take. Like I would be like messaging Mets and everybody else, like, can you just put this in diamond? Can I swap out my soul team for the Antarctica team and just
Mm.
put it in diamond? No, it's I
Penguin
would buy that.
MFC, right?
Yeah. Like the Ross Ice Shelf MFC team, like I don't know, the McMurdo base ice, like would be fantastic. And just like that'd be amazing. I would love it.
Mm.
Absolutely love it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Jimbo,
Big
like the
MFC.
important question is, and like you've asked before, like what is the flag?
Yeah, what's the flag of
Like,
Antarctica? How do you put that? What country does that come from? I'm being the devil's
yeah,
advocate here because I like playing that role and prompting discussion. Realistically, there's no flag, there's no countries, so how could you have a license for it? But would I love to see one in there? Yes, I think that's all
and
we can agree on.
speaking of flags,
Yeah,
can we, so as a reward for making diamond, can the team that makes gets promoted to diamond, so BFC Manchester, can they get a flag on their like the English flag field pitch? Can like that be a reward for hitting diamond? So like with my soul iron pegs, can I have a South Korean flag field? Because that would be awesome. That would be such
mm,
like a nice little cap of like, hey guys, congratulations, you've got to the peak. We're just going to give you a flag with your country. We're going to give you a field with your country symbol on it because I know that they have them from like earlier in the days, Big Will, when like you guys all started and you have those. I would love to have a South Korean pitch. I mean, I would love for the winner of Diamond to get a Diamond pitch, like et cetera, et cetera. I think it would just kind of be a cool little cosmetic thing that would be nice. Would make me certainly happy.
Yeah, like that would be nice. Apparently there is a European like bias, because that's where we got all the like country flags during like the Euro. Was it like 2024?
2024. I mean, when you say Euro bias for
Right?
the Euro Championship, I'm not sure you can have American flags in a Euro 2024 competition, but I'll allow it.
I mean, I assume we'll get something like that for the World Cup too, right?
I
So,
mean, that seems a fitting event to have something like that, right? And
well,
I think
yeah,
would see a nice event.
just I would
MFL
love
surely know
to
that.
rock a South Korea pitch. It would be fantastic. Just
I
as a
think,
hey, congratulations, you spent all this money and you got to diamond.
yeah,
Have more pixels. Like, okay,
even just like any sort of unique pitch for a particular achievement. BigWilb with his Titans Cup, it has Tango have a pitch now which says at the bottom of it it says season 9 Titans Cup winner. So that's
yeah,
unique to only that club.
I would love
Just small things like that.
it.
The
Intrinsic
last
value of the clubs go up, right? Like we want to boost the price of these clubs too. Like I don't know.
exactly.
This is what we're talking about though. When you buy a team and you put it all the way up, like there's the journey that's there,
Mm,
something that is intrinsic about that. So
mm. Um, the final question I'm going to ask from Risu, and I want to expand on it slightly. It says, please ask, do you agree? Pack drop mint sizes or quantities need to be carefully managed and have been too many except this last one. It's of utmost importance to keep the value of MFL also for the MFL company, otherwise the player prices continue to decrease, plus rewards aren't precious any longer. I want to expand on this. The reason I want to bring this one up was because MFL Ramble had their stream, their 1 year anniversary. Congrats to the MFL Ramble on that achievement, by the way. And their first guest was the CEO of MFL Maturin, and they had him back on, and they invited questions to ask Matt, and one of the questions that was asked, and I know I asked what was his proudest achievement of the last year of MFL, because even though it's been MFL Ramble's year anniversary, it's also a year anniversary since season 1 started, roundabout so. And one of the questions was asked was there any sort of decision that you regretted or wish you would have done differently? And I think it was quite refreshing for him to come out and say, I think they got it wrong with the pack quantities after the boom hit, because their expectation of growth was more linear than what it currently is, where we've seen more of a corrective state in terms of demand. And I think in hindsight, maybe that was it obvious in hindsight? Yes, maybe no. I remember Mr. Andrew Umled will probably hate me saying this. He posted a video saying like, MFL, sorry for your success, with a picture of him, and we'll never see $1 players again, and and that sort of thing. And Matt basically said if he would have knew what he does now and had it back then, they would have reacted quicker in pack quantities at the time and then reduced it rather than reacting late and prolonging that. We've seen the last 2 seasons they've brought down pack quantities by quite a bit. The lowest probably it has been in a year. Do you expect that to continue over the next couple of seasons? Bear in mind, we've not actually seen the quantities for the season 10 pre-season pack drop. I kind of want to get your guys' thoughts on that whole conundrum, because it's a whole different side to MFL, is the marketplace and pack quantities. Do you guys have any particular opinions and all that with regards to drop sizes and the economics of MFL?
As someone with a large agency, of course, I'm going to say that I want as little released as possible. But I have to laud um, uh, MFL for the restraint that they have put into place, because you've seen so many Web3 projects just get like torn apart with just over minting, and it is something that Matherin and the entire team over there at MFL take very seriously. And hey, you know what? I don't think anyone really saw the layered slash like net boom like coming, right?
No. No.
I was I was used to, just seeing, prices like fluctuate here and there, but like I just, like didn't see them like rocket like that since, right, when the marketplace opened, or when three really like large like managers
Akane comes
joined
in New
the
Year or
fray,
something
right?
like that. Yeah. Nothing
Yeah,
prolonged like we saw for weeks
exactly.
and seasons.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I really laud their efforts, and I'm glad that they're restraining it while we're in this low time, right? The Premier League, started, and like everything with like So Rare, has gotten like a lot of people's like attention. And typically throughout the season, as the season like goes along, that's when the NFL really gets their second win, pretty much. And of course, you and I have been around for ages, right? 3, 4 years.
Hmm.
So we've seen the booms and like busts too. So um, it's just a part of the process. So hey, you know what? What you got to do is go against where the market's going, right? When everyone's looking to sell and is fearful, that's when you buy up, and when it's high, that's when you sell off like a little bit. I
Not
really haven't
financial advice
sold
from
off
Big Wilbert
many of
here,
my
just his
guys.
own personal thoughts.
Right, right, right. Yeah, yeah, sure. But if you think about it, MFL, it's a great product. We all love it. That's why we're here,
Mhm.
right? We want to see it grow. And to be honest, they haven't, like I think this was one of like this questions uh that they like asked, hey, you know what? They haven't really put the huge marketing push yet, right? We still have a huge boom coming at some point in time. We just don't know when it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I know that the team is going to be careful that they have the product where they want to be before they pull those levers.
Hmm. Yeah. Bob, are you on the same mindset as Big Wilb there?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, to Big Will's points, I mean, I want to say that their impulse control of not overloading with packs in more cards speaks to the intelligence of the team. And what I'm looking for is a smart team. And this team is very clearly smart. And they're doing a good job taking care of their customer, which is us. So a big shout out on that. Like that's really important. And I also think that what we're really talking about are economic systems, because this really is an economic system and they're considerably more complex than just simple supply and demand. There are obvious underlying characteristics and pieces that go into it, which is why we have the trial clubs and why we have different things and why clubs are priced where they are, et cetera, et cetera. And those are discussions that have to be had with whatever economists or whomever they have that are running these things that are not always profit driven. There are some things that you sacrifice to get to where you need to go. I mean, I know that like when we were starting a business here, we didn't take salary for the first year. Like you have to put the money back into the system. So the economic system itself is considerably more complex than just simple supply and demand. And I appreciate the fact that we're not overloading and dumping new cards in because it doesn't really matter which scarcity. If any scarcity crashes, the whole entire market crashes around it. So like you have to these things are very, very finicky and they're very fickle. So, I don't want to overload with uncommons or overload with limiteds and stuff like that. I want to make sure that there is still buying pressure for us and a desire to do so while also giving us the opportunity to sell as needed. And I think that one of the things, especially on something like So Rare or Top Shot, that people don't ever talk about or think about is the fact that, yes, I bought that guy for $30 and I can only sell him for $20 now. So, in a very straightforward sense, you're losing $10. But the question is, you've had him and you've been using him for a year. How much money have you made off of him in that year? And it's not something that anybody ever actually answers or thinks about. They just look at I paid X, I'm getting Y, I'm losing money. And so life in general is a lot more complex. When I ask my wife what's for dinner, it's a lot more complex than just chicken nuggets, right? I have to figure things out. So, it's how things kind of go, Jimbo. And I think that they did a really good job with it. I'm happy with the reduction in packs. I think that's smart. I want to see people eager to go in there and buy the packs. And now that we're not really using Floaty to sell the packs, I want to see how we are monetizing our MFL. And I think that's part of it too, because with bigger agencies like Big Will, and my agency's pretty big too, we do need to monetize some pieces and places also, and it's up to us to figure out how we are going to do that. And that's not always easy because we like the things that we like. I don't want to get rid of one of my cards that help get me to Diamond because I have this emotional connection to it. But then I realize it's a bunch of pixels that I can sell for X amount of money and I can reinvest in, right? So there's a whole bunch of like humanistic value that goes into these things too that makes it a lot of fun because you know I always go back to the conversation that you and Kelva had about when I spent way too much money on Mackler from Scrub on the mid-season, like 4 seasons ago. I spent like 1,300 something like that dollars on Mackler, and as it turns out, Mackler is one of the main reasons that got me to Diamond and why I finished third this season. And so while the financial value may not be there for you or Big Will or somebody else, it doesn't matter about the finances because it's only me that has the finances to do what I did. But it made me very happy in doing this. And I know that I can spend a month going out to the pub and drinking beer with my friends and eating chicken nuggets again because chicken nuggets are the greatest thing in the world because I'm still like a 12-year-old child. But I'd much rather get something that brings me joy every single day that I can use, that I can strategize around. Because, like Big Will said, like I'm an engineer by trade. I love the strategy part of this game. Like it's what drew me to this game from a game like So Rare, from Top Shot, because I can use my brain to figure it out. And that's also why I'm more confident. And they said, like, I'm going to win Diamond, right? Like, so yes, things are complex. I like what they've done with the pack setup. I'm okay with it reducing. It keeps our things steady. It keeps our prices steady. It keeps people happy. And then it makes people reach out to people like me and Big Will if they want to buy cards too, which is obviously good for us coming back. So
Yeah, no, I like that answer. And I want to sort of a penultimate question before about rewards and how you guys are going to spend them before I ask you both about Andy Official's um, question from he asked last week. With a reduction in in quantities of packs, you're going to see less less players out there. We're going to see mass retirements kicking in probably the next 4 to 6 seasons realistically. When that time comes, if we still have these size quantities in our packs, do we still a little bit of a, I don't want to put it extreme and say like a supply shock, because I don't think that's probably the right way to phrase it, but do we see some of the upper rarities have a little bit of a decrease in their in their pools of quality, and I want to connect that to rewards and how we're spending them with that in mind. And now we're getting to the point where retirement is going to start kicking in more frequently. Big Will, I'll come to you first. For season 10 and your season 9 rewards, are you planning to spend your rewards how you've done previously? And for those who don't know how Big Will does it previously, he usually buys a shitload of packs and rips them on a live stream in the Discord. Is that the same route you're going down this year, or have there been sort of thoughts in your mind, oh, I actually will spend my rewards differently this season, the next couple seasons?
Well, like definitely gonna do that like again this season. I didn't do it last season just because like I had actually went wild and opened like 10 like legendary packs, not the 85 to like 89 like man packs, like the actual like legendary ones, and it didn't really get that great, but I'm still seeing some returns on some of them. I had like an 85 go to an 88 like this season. So again, you can't look at the face of the card and say, hey, that's always going to be this player's value, right? That's what's like unique about MFL. So this season, congratulations to me. Last season, I finally got into the black after what, like 19, full seasons
Hey,
of
congrats, man. That's
MFL.
huge.
I put a ton in, but it's just a matter of right, with time and like patience. And
More
as
time,
you
more
guys know, I don't
patience.
really sell a lot of my players, right? Like I'm getting a lot of this stuff off of rewards and selling those rewards off and um, reinvesting those rewards in my team. So that's how I've been self-sustainable throughout this entire time, right? So,
Mm.
and then of course now is like a great time, right? I just bought like an 89 rated 32-year-old that like doesn't have the symbol yet, but for $90, right? Like
Damn.
that's you know decent pace, decent dribbling, decent like passing. I can play out of the back with him. Like you really haven't seen these prices in a while. So, I don't think it's any surprise that I kind of feel that packs are overvalued. So I'm going to buy a crap load of them and probably sell them. Right. Like I know it's kind of a pain in the butt to sell like commons, but I might do a little bit of that, but like I think like uncommons is like the like sweet spot, where I can get, probably like 25 like plus like a pop for them and probably sell a bunch of them and then go out and get the players, that are either like underserved, right? That are on the older side, because I really do feel that's where, not financial advice, by the way, uh, that
Well done.
is where you're going to get the best bang for your buck value, because everyone is scared of
Mm-hmm.
that, like tombstone, right? Scared money doesn't make money, and that's kind of where I've invested like a ton of my funds recently in those older players or in those players at like agencies that are just being like underserved, right? If I see someone, hey, you know what, you've been around for a while, like you've seen some progression, but you've only played like 5 or 6 matches, as a backup, you know, I'm on those. I'm on those like older players because there was a like an 85 rated right back that I got 2 seasons ago for maybe like $130. Went up +5 in one season because he was
Man.
underserved before that. Of course, I got that tombstone afterwards, but like again, you have to look in the market, see where you can improve your see where you can improve your teams, and yeah. But hey, you know what? Ripping packs is fun, right? And that's why like a lot of people like buy them, right? So hey, you know what? If that's what you want to do, go do it. I'll be doing a little bit of that. I'll be doing a live stream from
My
the
man.
lowly commons to probably the like legendary packs. But that's kind of my plan and my outlook.
Bosh. Love to see that the live stream of those packs will still be happening. And also congrats on uh, you know, I guess it's turning a profit now
Long
in
time.
MFL. It's a long time. I know. Yeah, a couple of years when we've been able to sell things. That's a great achievement for you, Bill. We'd love that, and may your packs be fruitful, and the gods be in your favour come Tuesday, probably Tuesday afternoon UK time. That's usually in the office, and I book myself a room and jump in the Discord and bring it up on my phone, and then so no one can see my screen while I'm working.
So
Um,
hopefully, like it's better this time.
yeah, yeah. Bob, reward day has come. We now got rewards and rollover day happening soon. Any change of plan for you with reward day compared to previous seasons, or
Not really. I mean, I'm usually I don't really spend a lot on packs, but last season I bought a couple packs. And, I bought one legendary plaque. I pulled the 91 left back who's now on my gold team. And so
nice?
right now, I actually think I'm going to do probably the least financially intelligent thing and just buy the big 90 to 94 pack
Ooh,
because it's not smart, but I'm in a very different situation than Big Will is. Big Will's been here for many years. I'm coming up on 9 months that I've been in here. So I am still trying to build that pyramid structure for myself to get from gold to platinum to keep the wheel spinning to keep me in diamond for a long time. So the way I look at this is if I buy a 90 to 94 pack, worst case scenario, it's a 90 and he sucks. And by he sucks, I mean he's a starter for sure, starter on my gold team, and he helps me progress up to platinum. Like that's worst case scenario.
mm-hmm.
And then as Big Will said, the MFL that I get from that gold team going up now is a platinum team. And quite honestly, with a little more progression from a bunch of 93s and 92s, all of a sudden you have a team capable of getting into diamond again. And then if delegation happens, then now we have a different conversation
Yeah.
that's going on. So this, for me, it's the first time I've been able to buy a big pack. So I want to do it. I know that I'm going to get burnt, but it's okay. It's okay because I have a place for them to go to help move me up and
Mm.
get to my end goal. And that end goal is having that diamond, platinum, gold level team. Because I think by the time I get a strong enough platinum team in place that could push for diamond, then my hometown team can be up pushing silver, pushing gold, et cetera, as we go through there. So it's going to take some time and it's going to take a little bit of investment from there. But once I have that platinum team in place, my feeling is then I can start selling packs. But you do have to reload, because I don't want to keep buying cards. So what I've been doing is I've been using my MFL in the past, Jimbo, and packaging them in deals with people for cards. That's how I got guys like McLeod, my striker, my 94 striker, Renaud, my 94 striker. I've bought packs, sent them to the owners, and then sent a little cash along with it to start moving myself up the ladder. So I've been using my MFL in that manner to push myself up, which means that I'm not pulling money out. I'm not taking any sort of returns yet. I'm, as Big Will said, reinvesting in my team by using my packs as a currency. So I'm not doing that at all this season. I'm just going to try to swing big, miss big. It's okay. You know what? And if we miss, like I said, he goes into diamond and he fits right in with everybody else that's on the diamond team. And if I'm lucky, I get the 194 keeper that's already 30 years old that can be a starter for my diamond team that's guaranteed to go to ultimate. Like that's like the supreme luck that you hope for. But realistically, I just want to have fun, and ripping packs is fun. Like I don't
Yeah.
care what people say.
Amen.
It's exciting. Like the disappointment is real, but when you don't expect a lot, it's a completely different feeling. Like I expect like a 90 CB with like 52 pace, which is like the worst case scenario, like ever. Like just like park your dump truck like right in the middle of the pitch and don't move too far. But that's okay. Like we're gonna have fun with it no matter what happens. We're gonna probably do a pack stream on the Ramble, Jimbo, and
Oh
rip
yeah,
them and
yeah,
then
yeah, like
laugh
last
at me
time.
for being
Yeah.
a moron. Laugh at me for being a moron, and that's all good. And then we'll just keep rolling with the punches.
Well,
So, yeah.
we'll all be praying in that stream that 1994 to be an absolute banger for you. Otherwise, we'll all be griefing with you.
I mean,
Um,
the thing is though, like they're guaranteed to go up at least one, right?
yeah,
So
that's
like
true. Yeah, yeah.
you find the diamond in the rough that goes up like all you need, and this is not I mean, most guys in Big Will's gallery have gone up five throughout the course of their career. Like just one more guy to go up five is all you need. Even if you get the worst card in the pack, just go up five. You'll be at ultimate.
Mm,
You're perfectly acceptable. And honestly, diamond, like you get up to 93, like you're perfectly capable. 92. I mean, Brian and okay, yeah, sure, proved that you only need like 90s in diamond this season to be successful. So yeah, man, it's fun. It's just I want to keep that wheel turning.
yeah, keep it turning. As long as you're having fun whilst doing it, that
Yeah.
is the main thing. Right. Final question, because I can look at my window and the reflection. I can see. I'm telling myself, what would Calvert Junior do right now? And she'd probably be saying, "End the podcast." But we've still got to do one more question, and it's from Andy Official. And he said, "Question to both of you: If you were in Mathurin's shoes, how would you communicate what new features will be implemented in the game? We get many suggestions, many ideas. Sometimes it's through AMAs or the dev updates. Would you guys, if you were CEO, would you implement a roadmap? How would you communicate that?" And I think it's a very unique question, one we've not really had before. Does anyone want to chime in first?
I don't know. I think I'll go ahead and chime in now since I've been with the product for multiple years and you and I have been like veterans in this thing. They've really surprised me with like how they've released the like new features and because I know at least early on we've always been like clamoring uh for like a roadmap on where we're gonna go, where we like, plan to be in a year or like 2 years. But um, with them not telling us, um, you know, instead of maybe like they've like hinted at like certain stuff in terms of like reward packs, like being, like banded and that kind of stuff. But the fact that they just release stuff like organically, like it could just show up
Organically.
one day, right?
Yeah,
You
they
could
love
have
that
like a
word.
kit. They do. They do. Like they even like use it in their logo, right? So,
Yeah.
um, but um, but and I'll be honest, I was on the naysayers. I'm like, hey, you gotta let us know where you're going with this. But it changes. Things change, right? The users and like what they want change, and like you have to be able to, again, I'll use that word again, organically move with the times, right? We're not locked into, hey, you know, their pack drops are going to be this large every single time. It's dynamic, right?
Hmm.
So, um, but yeah, like I said, I was like a detractor for the longest time, but I've just kind of opened my eyes to, to seeing the big picture and saying, hey, you know what? If these guys really feel like a need to put this particular feature in place, they have a reason for it. They have the data. Like they have more information than I can ever dream of, you know, um, like putting like together like myself, even with all the great free tools out there, like they have, you know, done well. And like, the trial clubs, right? You've been a part of it too, right? You know, the fact that they got so many people to like buy in, I'm not sure what the rate was, but it was probably double what I thought would actually, go in and, there's some people that like threw in like $80 sight unseen, especially with flint clubs like going for like $50 before the like promo. Like
Mm.
um it's but yeah, I would just keep keep like going like the way that they're going, because obviously I'm not a marketeer or like anything along those lines. So I'm not gonna step out of bounds. I'm just gonna let them do their work. I'm just gonna go ahead and sit in my seat and complain about these like sweaty goals and my and my strikers not being able to put a goal on target from like 2 feet away. So
Mm, But Bob, would you, if you were CEO of MFL, communicate your ideas differently, or in any other way?
I mean, I think that if I'm the CEO and I want to communicate my ideas, I have to understand where my people are, where my customer base is really going to be focused the most. Like, where can I get my most bang for my buck? Right? Like, I'm not like if I want to bring people in, like I'm not just going to be posting random things on like, Reddit, like looking for people to come join MFL. I'm going to be
Yeah.
looking for people at specific soccer events. I'm going to have like my placards up and stuff like that there, right? So what I mean by this is not everybody is on Discord, but every single person that uses MFL logs onto the site. So I'm thinking in terms of like think of a game like one of your like Magic the Gathering type of games or something like that. Like a game that you play online. When a big update happens, there's a pop up as soon as you open the game after you get the new update, and so
Hmm.
you see exactly what's changing. And that is the only way to guarantee that every single
And
person is
sees
aware
it.
of an update that's happening. It's
Yeah.
just an active pop up that just happens and they will come in periodically, but it gives you the access to it. And, we're not clicking around trying to find where it is in the blog post and jumping to a Medium post to look for it or go on Twitter. You know what I mean? I think that something like that, it's just a simple pop up that like, you only do a couple updates anyway throughout the course of the season. So what you have like three big pop ups that show up for you like
Mm.
when it comes through, and it's just a standard thing like, hey, okay, so this is what changes here. Awesome, no problem, click through it. And if you don't want to read it, you just click the X and you move on with your day, and it takes all of a second. And you just got to make sure that it only pops up that one time, and once it's done, you move on. So
Yeah.
that's
I,
how I would communicate more in your face.
I like that. I know that obviously at the moment sometimes they have the inbox which tells you the season changes, but for most people the inbox is just, you know, like the same email app on your phone. Unless you know something important's coming in there, you don't bother looking at it and checking what the notifications are. But if a pop up came up and you just said, "No, don't want to," I've read it, don't want to see it again. Bang, it goes.
Yep.
They've done their bit. It's now on you to do your bit and read through it if you want to.
But I need multiple clicks, and I need to know to go to my inbox. I'm a new user. I don't know that I even have an inbox. Like, where is my inbox? I don't know what the hell's going on. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
seriously, like I remember when I started, like, how the hell do I sign contracts? Like,
yeah. Oh
where do I
yeah.
cancel contracts? Like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. Like, so think of the pop-ups like they do with their tutorials.
Mm,
Just like a tutorial pop-up,
yeah.
and Fabio Cannavaro is telling you what to do next,
Yeah. No, I
and
I
if,
do
if
like.
you're if you're improving like headers, like from strikers, like have Peter Crouch do the announcement for you. Just like picture Peter Crouch right there. Just So yeah, like something like that. That's just it's an active pop up that is there. You see it once and it's done. And I mean, they get annoying, like you get pop up fatigue and stuff like that. But you're not getting it all the time if it's only
Yeah,
happening once. You only have one scenario. Just updates are showing. It's not like
yeah.
a medical record where they pop up all over the
W-
place.
Once every 6 weeks or however more infrequent it is than that.
Yeah, like I
Right.
don't need to know every time Quentin changes something in the engine. I need to know
Oh
big
yeah, you
things.
don't need to know that. Yeah, yeah. Something big changes.
Yep.
Right. We always ask our guests to ask a question to our next guest, whoever they or that person might be. There are two of you. Um, I'm hoping you've got a question each, or you can bash heads together and combine a question. Big Will, I'll come to you first. Do you have a question for our next guest?
I can't really think of one right now, so I'm gonna go ahead and like defer to Bob. So I'm sure that he's got something.
Go on, Bob.
So for me, I'm really curious what your next guest thinks about tactical familiarity. So we
Mm.
we hear a lot of people running multiple formations to counter people, and part of what happens in real life is that Burnley runs a 4-2-3-1, all the time and they're playing defensively. You know what I mean? Like they're really good at it. If we have Burnley try to run a 4-3-3-A, they're screwed, you know?
Yep.
So is that something that someone would want to see in the game? So like what it basically does is it says, hey, Ronan, congratulations. You're the best at 4-1-2-1-2, and we're going to give you a little bit of a bump for it. Sorry, Big Will and Bob, who change their lineups every single week, game. Like you're not going to be as strong as Ronan.
Nerf them.
But I mean, obviously, like when I think about that, like it would, if you're only running one formation, you're reducing the amount of time you're having in the game and stuff like that, which is obviously not something you want to do, right? You want people actively involved in the site for as long as humanly possible. But I hate, I really don't like playing Big Will because I have no idea what you're going to play ever against me. And I'm trying to play like the voodoo mind games with you, and I don't know what formation to run. And I'm just like, I hope this one works. Just like, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I like sort of tactical or formation familiarity. I think it would be quite a nice thing to introduce into the game. But I think it's a great question. And Big Will, do you endorse that question? Are you happy for that question to be on behalf of the pair of you?
Yeah. Well, like, I can like definitely see that like happening. I'd like to see that happening like more than national familiarity, right? Like I know that was a big thing. That everyone was looking forward to. You saw like full teams there, but tactical familiarity, yes, I'd like to see that as well as familiarity with actual like players, right? I would like to bring in like this same crew and know that I have a little bit like of advantage over, like someone who just like put their like team together.
Yeah. No, I do like that as well. Right, so we're coming over 2 hours. I know Big Wilbur in the streams earlier in the week. You're like, oh my god, it's over 2 hours. How dare you? But no need to worry this time,
I'll
sir, because
never
you're
say that
part of
again.
it.
I'll never say that again. Sorry,
You're
everyone.
part of it. You're part of it.
We're long-winded.
Thank you to Bob for being in this episode. He has just dipped out. He literally set off then like, am I good to go? And he was like, yeah. So he's just gone. So thank you to Bob. Hopefully listen back to this last couple minutes and you hear that. Hashtag of the week. Hashtag who do you think is going to win Diamond? Because if Bob was here, he'd be putting hashtag and probably copying and pasting his team's name in, because I don't think he has the letters on his keyboard to type out Soul Lion Pigs in Korean. But hashtag whoever you think is going to win Diamond. And no, that is not literally the hashtag. Tag Arden Lucas, I'm talking about you. Do not type what I've just said out immediately after the hashtag. Pack drop stream on Wednesday. Make sure you're there. And now for the pack drop, quizzes, packs, players, rewards, MFL, you name it, all the juicy stuff. The quiz is back with a bang for season 10. Before we wrap things up, Big Wilbert, thank you very much, sir, for coming into the studio today. I hope you have had a great time with us on the WenDirkCast.
Yes. Thank you for having me. Thank you for all that you do for the community. I know they're not really like paying you like as much as they are. Well, or at all, right? So you can definitely tell that you're doing this for the love of the game and just glad to be a part of it.
I appreciate that, man. Always for the love of the game. Love the beautiful game that is MFL. Always love the beautiful game of football. We'll do anything and everything for it. Thank you all so very much for listening, and we'll catch you this time next week for an episode of the WenDirkCast. Thank you for listening. Bye.